Dari Nowkhah is joining us, SEC Network, and he is the face. We have determined ever since he started coming on the show that he was the face of the SEC Network. And then Paul Finebaum's coming up later today, Dari, and I don't know what to call him.
No, you got Paul coming up. That's amazing, buddy. He can be the voice of, and I'll be the face of.
Okay,
no,
there we go.
He's the mouth.
Yeah.
Bart just did it. He said he's the mouth, and you're the face.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, he's the mouth of the South.
Yeah.
You better believe it.
How is it when you slide in there to fill in occasionally on the Paul Finebaum show and you take all those calls?
I haven't done it for a while, but it's one of those things that typically when that 4 hours is over, I walk off the set and I ask myself, what in the hell just happened?
I can only imagine.
Yeah. That was a thing just now, wasn't it? Yeah, that actually was a thing.
It truly is the inmates running the asylum.
Yeah, I mean, he admits that. I mean, he's just they take him for the ride. But I tell you what, the thing about it is the connection that he has with them. And it's real, man. I mean,
it is. There's no question.
He went to Phyllis's funeral, and they really do. They have a deep connection with him, and that's an admirable thing, man. And it says a lot about him, that they feel like he's really their friend, and that he is their friend. Like, in fact, is their friend. So it's a unique thing. I don't know that we'll ever really see anything like it again when you look at it in its entirety.
That's part of the fun of what we get to do here. We got our friends just listening to the show and having coffee and calling in. And
that's right.
They love to hear from you, Dari. Can you just place coaches at vacancies for us that are open now in college football? I mean, I kid, but at the same time, I don't think we've ever seen anything like this where we've had this many big openings.
How about
in the middle of the season?
So by the end of October, there were 8 FBS openings. Okay, and then a 9th was added just after that with Auburn. But there were 8 at the end of October. In the last 2 seasons combined before this, there were 2 by the end of October. So we haven't seen this, Bo. It's completely different. And it's, in my opinion, and I think most people would probably agree, it's the money. It's the NIL. It's the boosters. It's the people that supply the money to fund the rosters, telling the athletics directors and the universities that we're going to shut off the pipeline of money. We feel like we're going nowhere as a program. We're wasting our donations by giving it to you all when this person is the head coach. And until you make a change, we're not going to give any more money. And I feel like that's the reason that we're seeing what we're seeing. And the ADs, I think, are kind of backed into a wall, and patience is not something that they're really able to have right now. I don't know that this will be the case forever, but that's just my feeling on why it's happening like this.
Obviously, we're most concerned about the Razorbacks. Where do you think Arkansas falls in all this? Where are they in the pecking order? What's the view, do you think, around college football about this job?
I think it's in the middle somewhere of there. It's not Florida, it's not LSU, it's not Penn State. It's probably somewhere right after that, and where do they go? I have no idea. I don't know if you guys would have a lot better feel on that than I do. I feel like the longer it goes, the less likely it's Petrino. I see chatter a little bit about James Franklin, which I think would be a good hire. I thought from the jump, if I'm Arkansas or I'm Oklahoma State, that's one of the first calls I make. I think he makes sense there. He's had SEC success at a place that wasn't the easiest to have SEC success. I think he could be really good at Arkansas. So, but I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know if there's hesitation to hire Bobby. I don't know if they're waiting to see if the team wins some games before the end of the year. It's a mystery, man, just like it is everywhere else. The whole Lane Kiffin mystery, the whole what the heck's Auburn going to do? John Cohen made alluded to if, that this search could take a while because if it's not somebody that's in-house, it's somebody that's going to be playing late into the season. So I'm completely baffled as to what really any of them are going to do.
I wonder if jobs are what they used to be in terms of how we looked at them. Florida's a great job. LSU's a great job. Auburn's a great job. You can win a national championship there. Well, with the portal now and boosters like Cody Taylor at Texas Tech saying, I'm going to step up. I'm not just going to give the money. I'm going to get a bunch of other wealthy people in my circle to help. We're going to create a committee or a group, and we're going to go get a guy. And then we're going to go get players. And we're all going to be on the same page. And if I'm a coach, to me, that may be more important now than the place that I'm going, as in LSU or Auburn or whatever.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, and that goes right to, like, the Lane Kiffin thing, right? I mean, is this assumption that Florida or LSU is an easier spot for him to win a national title than Ole Miss, like an old, antiquated belief? Maybe it is. You know, I mean, all you've got to do is look in Bloomington, Indiana, to see a guy that came over in year one, brought a whole bunch of his guys and a whole bunch of other additions to the portal, goes 11-1 and makes the playoff, and in year two is a legitimate threat to win the national championship. In Bloomington, flipping Indiana, which going into the season had the worst winning percentage among FBS football programs all time. So if it can happen there, then I think it can probably happen everywhere. I do think there's this old school mindset that some coaches might still adhere to that say, hey, you know, we can get transfers from anywhere, but I'd still like to be in a place with a 200, 300-mile radius from a bunch of 5-stars.
Yeah.
But I don't know that ultimately is going to determine who wins the championship, because a lot of those guys aren't in the same place in year number 2.
Dari, the college football playoff rankings came out. How are we going to land in the SEC? This is so funny that we still have these conferences that are, just positioning themselves and arguing. And I wish we could almost do away with conferences and not have that discussion. Like, who are the best teams? Get them in the playoff. But how many do you think the SEC is ultimately going to end up with?
I think somewhere between 4 and 6.
Holy cow.
I think you look around.
6 would set the world on. The whole world would just melt down.
But it kind of depends too, right? So if Notre Dame loses again, then they're out. That creates a spot. I think if the Big 12 ends up a 1-bid league and not 2, that opens up a spot. I think in the Big 10, if Oregon loses another game, they're highly questionable now. That opens up another spot. I think you're looking at 1 or 2 Big 12. I think you're looking at 2 or 3 Big 10, and you're looking at 1 ACC, possibly Notre Dame in a group of 5. And depending on how that shakes out, I think you're realistically looking maybe at 4 or 5. But if Notre Dame loses again and the Big 10 gets 2 and the Big 12 gets 1, you could be looking at 6. So it kind of depends on what else is going on around the country. But it's going to be no less than a third of the field.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting also to me to see where we started and then where we end up. Like when the initial rankings came out, you form a bracket based off those rankings as it would be today. And really the playoff begins now. I mean, BYU, Texas Tech, Texas A&M, and Missouri this weekend. I mean, these are playoff implications. You're basically playing your way in or out for some teams with 3 games left in the regular season. Absolutely.
Vanderbilt is playing for their lives. Well, to Oklahoma, is off this week, but they go to Alabama in a must-win. Texas, they got to go to Mississippi, to Georgia in 2 weeks. That's not a walk in the park, So you're right. I mean, it does. It feels like postseason for all of these teams that know that if we lose, there's a really high likelihood we are done, like Tennessee did last week.
Hey, Dari, when you were ripping off those numbers from the conferences, it seems to me as though that the gap is getting even wider. I mean, the ACC's having a down year. I mean, Clemson's not what people thought they were. Florida State's fizzled. SMU, they're good. They're not quite as good as they were last year. They're going to get probably Virginia in. There's not a great group of 5 team out there, although there are a lot of good ones. Big 12 maybe 1 or 2. And we focus on Ohio State and Indiana, but it's not like the Big Ten's got this long list of playoff teams. It just looks like the SEC is the way the setup is right now. The gap's got the potential to grow even wider.
Well, I mean, it kind of proves what Big Ten people are sick of hearing, that it's a deeper league. The SEC is a deeper league than the Big Ten. I think you're safely going to put Ohio State and Indiana in there. Their third best team is Oregon, and their fourth is SC, and SC's down there at 19. And Oregon and SC still have to play each other in Eugene in a couple of weeks. So one of those teams is going to knock the other one out, and then they may lose independently of that game. So you're looking at 3 at the absolute most in the Big Ten, while in the SEC you're looking at, potentially having 5 or 6. And it just goes to the depth. Big Ten, very, very top heavy, and the SEC is very, very deep. And, sometimes the Big Ten gets all mad when they hear that, because you're telling me Illinois doesn't match up with Ole Miss. You're telling me, Nebraska doesn't match up with, with Georgia or Texas. And it's like, that's exactly what we're talking about.
I'll tell you that.
Well, let's play those games.
Yeah.
Let's get these conferences intermingled and play these games. Dari, I know you got your next drop off. Dari's got the dad bus going this morning. He's dropped off one.
Caught him between stops.
We did. We caught him between stops. He's multitasking and doing it well. Dari, hey, we always appreciate you. Love you, man. Thanks for hopping on with us.
I love you too, buddy. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Have a great show.
Talk soon, man. 626, Dari Nowkhah, the face of the SEC Network.